Hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of this deadhead carving tutorial. Disclaimer real quick, I am sick. My whole family is getting over being sick. So I apologize if I sound like I am dying, which I sort of am, but we're just going to muscle through this. So let's get back into it and we will finish off this deadhead carving today. All right. So we left off here just right at the nose. From here, we are going to start carving in the ears. So we had lines going across for our nose line. I'm just going to darken those up a little bit. Then right about middle of the eye line, we're going to put our next line. And if you want, you can go all the way across too, if that helps. And it always helps if you turn your carving upside down. Make sure everything looks even. Doesn't have to be perfect. Those look pretty good. So, all right, first we're going to start on the left side. And we are going to start on the top. Right here where this line meets this line. We're going to sink that tip in. Rock it in. Do our stop cut. Okay. We're going to do the same on the bottom line. Like so. Now, what I like to do is I like to get the corners. So we'll come up from top, relief cut there, come up from the bottom, relief cut there, like that. Okay. Next, we'll take the tip of our knife right at that point where we made the stop cut. And we're just going to kind of roll it down in there, relieve that chip out. Like that. And we're going to do the same on this side. Remember, knife tip right at that stop cut. And we're just going to roll her down, take that chip out. And if it doesn't come out at once on your first one, that's okay. Just chip it out like that. Okay. So it should look something like so. Now, I am also still learning how to do ears. And it's an ever process of learning how to do ears. So, if yours don't come out looking like mine, that's fine. They're going to come out looking like yours. All right, next, we're going to follow this line down and do a stop cut here. And make sure we stop right at that corner. Okay, next. Let's see. Okay, we're going to come on the outside of this line right here. We're going to follow that stop cut with the tip of our knife up, and we're just going to kind of roll it out like so. We can do it a couple of times just to give it some depth, and that way we get the temples in a little more. All right, so it should have kind of a popped out square here. Pardon me. There'll probably be a little bit of coughing in this video here. Get that chip out of here. All right, next, from the inside, I'm going to flip it upside down again. The inside, we're going to kind of roll cut up from here. A couple of times just to give the ear a little more depth. Okay. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the camera. So it kind of gives that inner swoop of the inner part of the ear. Now we're going to take our pencil. We'll just start shaping around the ear here. So we're just going to do, I just do kind of like a question mark from one end to the other, down here. Get a different pencil, this thing's not working too well. There we go. So right here, down to here. So then we're going to take these chips. So we're going to follow this line first. Rock that knife. In. We'll take that chip out. Might have to give it a couple of tries. See, now we're just giving it a little more depth. Now we're just going to go to the next line. Same deal, rock the knife in. Carefully take out this chip. All right, let's see. Okay, we're going to take a chip out from this top corner and this bottom corner. So helps to draw in the lines. That's good. We're still following this center line here for that chip. So it already kind of gives us that little triangle space right there on each side of the corners. So we'll go 1. And then we're following the edge of the ear. 2. And we're going to chip it out. Clean it up a little bit. If you want, you can make it a little deeper. Like so. Now we're going to do the same on this side. Sink that tip of the knife in real deep. Okay. Then we're going to follow that line again. Down to there. And we're going to chip it out. Like so. So it kind of gives that indentation where your ear makes your cheek line. Okay. You know what, we're going to make this just a little deeper over here. Sink. Take that chip out again. There we go. A little deeper into that side. Then we'll do the same. Here we'll take out another little chip. This would be a lot easier too. Take that chip out. Oh, maybe not. Something like that. So we kind of got a little bit of a point here. Pardon me. We can just take that chip out. Just kind of round that ear off a little bit. And kind of round out behind here. Okay. That's starting to look like an ear. And these don't have to be realistic ears. I don't make my ears super realistic. So kind of like that. He's kind of got the circle looking ears. Kind of cartoonish looking. This guy had I tried to do a little more realistic ears, but he came out huge, huge ears, but like I said, I'm still learning how to do ears. All right, next we'll do, we'll do the inside of the ears. So we're gonna take a little chip out of here just to create your little ear hole. So just a little triangle like that. One. Two. It should chip out there, but there it goes. And go back in and chip it out. There it goes. Like that. All right. Then next, we'll just do a little inside of the ear work here. I just draw a C. So we're just gonna follow this line with our knife ever so slightly. And relieve that. Should chip out. Like so. Kind of clean it up a little bit. And we'll follow this next line out. Relieve that. I make that a little deeper just to give it some more shadows. And then, we'll do that one more time on the top. Something like that, okay? And then if you want to give this a little more depth in here, we can go back to undercutting it. Just chip those out. And same with the top. It's just cleaning up the ear. Giving a little more depth just to get a little more shadows. And then basically we're done with this ear. We're just going to go ahead and round off the hard lines here. So I just come at it at a little angle here. Nice and gently. And get your brush and brush it out if you need to. Let's get it cleaned up a little. Round off this corner a little more. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Cleaning up that area a little more. We'll do one more little cut right here. right where it meets the cheek. We'll just do a little stop and relief cut there. A little chip cut, you call it too. And then this part's a little tough if we're going to round off the inside of the lobe. Just be careful, since it's thinner wood, it can split, and then your ear is completely ruined. But not a big deal if your ear gets ruined too. If you get a big chip, well, we could say, hey, or what's the Bob Ross quote? He says, happy mistakes, right? It's a happy mistake. We just made that ear look like it's more decaying. Something like that. I think that looks pretty good. All right, we're going to go to the other side, and we're going to do the exact same. All right, so next on the list, we are going to do some eyes. First off, we're going to set the brow ridge in. So we want him looking mean, angry, snarling. So we're just going to do a V down. We're going to make a V down to here. And this way. Very simple. So on this side, we're just going to make our stop cut all the way up to the point of the V. Rock that knife in. Get it all the way in. Then we're just going to relieve that cut there. And relieve that cut there. Okay, we're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. Tip of the knife right to the point of that V. Rock it in. And we're going to chip it out. Same on that side. We'll just clean that up a tad. All right. Now we're going to smooth out these eyes a little bit. Kind of like that. Get this guy a little more here. There we go. Okay, so we're going to make some diamond eyes. All right, we can make that work. So from about here, we're going to go down to a point. We're just going to draw a diamond here, all the way down. Because I found these eyes, and I cannot remember the name of the carver that created this. But the diamond eyes, they make it look very angry. Actually, we're going to clean this side up just a little more. There, that looks better. And if somebody knows who created the diamond eyes, please comment down in the comments so I can give reference to them. On the same deal. We're going to come down this way. And his eyes are going to be a little off on this carving. That's okay. Here, hopefully you guys can see that just fine. Alright, so we're going to start with the left eye first, because doing the left eye, if you're right-handed, is going to be the harder of the two. And that was a nice trick that I learned from Johnny Layton on one of his tutorials. Do the side that's harder for you, and it actually works so much better. So we're going to do the left eye. And you know what? I totally forgot. We were going to give this guy a stitch. So I'll make a little V. And we're just basically making V's to create an X. Down to the nose. And it ain't got to be perfect. It's a stitch. I'll move that up just a little more. Kind of like that. And then we'll do the eye on this side. So we'll start with the stitch. So we're going to start with the outside. We're just going to do stop cut, relief cut. The deeper it is, the deeper you make your cuts, you actually create, from what I've figured out, you actually create like the actual eye socket, but no eyeball in there. So the deeper you make these cuts, it's actually going to look like that eye, like this guy, like looks like that eye actually has like decayed and disappeared, and it's just the stitch holding the eyelid together. So that was a fun little thing I figured out. So then we're just going to relieve this whole cut here, pop it out. And then we're going to do a chip cut right in the corner of that stitch here on this end, just so we get that depth. Like that. Oops. Like that. See how deep we got that? That's good. Now we're going to do the same on all 4 V's that we drew in. Alright, so we'll do the inside. Now I found out for doing the inside, it's easier to have your knife at not 100% on this plane, but more off to the side. I would say, I don't even know what degree, maybe a 45-degree angle on here. Sink that in. Okay, and then vice versa on this side. I meet that point. Angle it in, and then we're going to chip that out. This is the hardest of all 4 of the chips. So if you have to do it a couple of times to get it out, that's totally okay. Yeah, see, I didn't get that chip out there. There we go. Nice and deep. We can go back in there and clean it up. Go in there and try and chip those out. Like I said, this was the hardest cut to make. There we go. We got that little piece out. We'll give it a little scrub. Scrub-a-dub-dub. See, look at that. Nice and deep. Look at that shadow we got on him. Cool. Next, we're going to do this side. Really sink that knife in there. That's as deep as I'm getting it. So that's probably about that much of the tip of the knife in there. I'll do the same right up to that brow ridge. We're going to jib it out. Oops, I went a little too deep there. That's okay. Deeper is better. This guy's going to be a bugger. This is also one of the harder ones, so if you have to do multiple chips to get it out, it is what it is. So then we also set the bridge of the nose in a little more while we're making these chip cuts. It's a little ugly in there. See if we can brush that out. Okay, and then we're going to do the final chip. See, now this side I found you're going to have to chip it out 2 different ways. Might have to actually make a V cut. And then a V cut. That's actually what I did. Kind of like so. That brow ridge will actually cover up some of that. If it doesn't look good to you, well, let's fix it. There we go. Yeah, I lied. This is actually probably one of the harder cuts. This one is definitely the harder, but this is the hardest cut because you also have that brow ridge you got to work with. So you got to work around the brow ridge. So if you got to do multiple chips to get out all of that, so be it. Just be careful of the brow ridge, but we will actually work on the brow ridge and shape it a little more once we do the hard parts here. Okay. Give it a little brush, get all that little fuzzies out of there. Okay. So that's looking pretty good, I think. What do you guys think? It could look better, but we're going to make it look better. We're going to hold off on that. Now we're going to come in and do the right eye here. So we're going to start at the top point right here. Okay. Then we're going to follow the bridge line here. We're going to make a chip there, like that. Same here. We're just making chips at each of the points. Like that. So it kind of comes out like that. Okay. Now we're just gonna go around, stop cut, relief cut along the hard lines. And we're gonna tuck that eyeball in there some more. And we're gonna start rounding that eyeball. Kind of like that. I'm going to set that eyeball deep into that eye socket. Kind of like that. It's coming together nice. So we're going to kind of fix that part there. I don't like that, so we're just going to kind of make that chip a little bigger there. There, that looks better. I think that looks better. Kind of round out the hard edges of the eye socket. There, that's looking pretty good. Okay. What do you think, guys? We're getting there. We are getting there. Okay, and then we're gonna add just one eyelid in here. So we'll just go from this corner to that corner, like that. A little bit of an angle. Okay, this is where you want to be careful when we're doing the stop and relief cuts. You don't want to go too deep because you will chip out the eyelids, so you can do it. So we'll just do one little gentle pass. I'm not sticking that tip of the knife in that deep at all. Okay. I found out if you do multiple light passes with your stop cut, you actually, instead of just doing a deep stop cut going in there, you actually run less of a risk of chipping those edges out of that eyelid. So I usually do like 2 to 3 little runs on that line. Now we got that eyelid set, and then we're going to do a little bit of a chip cut here, meeting up with that eyelid. We're just going to deepen that, and just very carefully we're going to chip this out here. Little chips. We don't need to be taking big old chunks out. There we go. There we go. We'll flip it up. that together. And then we're just going to easy little chips. Itty bitty little chips. Golly, I keep hitting the camera arm. I think I'm going to have to figure out a different spot for this camera arm. Get those fuzzies off. Look at that. Nice. Good job. We made it through the eye. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the nose and the mouth. So we are going to make an M cut right here to set in those nostril flares. And then this one down here, right about to there. And then same thing on this side. Now remember, I screwed up on this nostril. So yours might be looking a little different than mine. That's okay. I would rather that this side was equal to this side on mine. And I'm hoping that yours as well is equal. If not, not a big deal. But we can still work around it. Because as I said multiple times in the beginning, in the middle, and the end of this, it's a dead head. So if you screwed up and you think, oh no, I just ruined my carving. No, you didn't. It's a deadhead. Think of it as now you got a chunk of the nose missing and how we can work that in there. Okay? So we'll do M cuts. This side needs to be out a little more. M cut here, and then we'll go right out to about there. Yeah, this side's going to look a little wonky just because of my screw up here. But I don't think yours is going to look like that. So we'll start on the left side. Do it in here. We'll sink that in pretty deep. And here. Rock it down right up to right there. Hopefully you guys can see that there. Okay. Then we're just going to relieve that. We're just going to take our tip of the knife and we're going to follow along that stop cut line. Slowly just chip it out. Like that. Look at that. Okay. There's the start of the nose. I guess he's going to have a big old schnoz today. So we're going to do the same on this side. Rock that tip in. Okay. And we're going to rock this thing. Okay, now we're going to do the relief cut from this way. And we're just going to follow those cut lines. Chip it out. Make that side a little deeper. So we get the smile lines set. Oh, I think this side we're going to have to just bring it in just a titch. That's okay. And that's okay because we're actually kind of setting up that snarl right there. Now we're just going to see if I remember how to do that because I did this on a whim. Just kidding. We'll get it. Just kidding. We'll get it in there, guys. Okay, clean that up a little bit. It's looking pretty close here. Pardon me. I'm going to clean that up just a touch. Oh, gee, hit the damn camera again. I apologize if this video is just an absolute wreck today. Because I'm an absolute wreck today. But I've got to get it done. Hopefully you have stuck with me this long through the struggle bus of being sick and bumping camera arms. And if you have, thank you. You're struggling with me. Let's add a little more. There. Cool. Okay, now we're gonna make this work here. So I believe we did it like this. So we're actually going to set in the mouth planes here. So we're going to continue this smile line down. We're going to come in this way. We're going to take a chip here. So we're going to bring that smile line all the way down basically to the chin. And then this guy, we're not quite going to do that yet. Okay. So let's see. We're going to set in that chin. Now I'm kind of running out a little bit room here. So we're going to set this chin in right here. So we're going to do a V-cut. Just going to rock it on top. And take that chip out. We'll set that chin in. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We kind of remember we're making this angular. So we're just kind of following that snarl. Okay, so from this chin line, we'll just draw in our snarl here. And basically, I'm just following that smile line. Coming up right up under that nose. And then a sharp angle down with those lips. So this would be the bottom lip right here. And then the top lip. So it'll meet right here, and then you can kind of give them a half smirk too, or we can just go. We'll give them the half smirk here. So we'll come up like that, and then back down like that. Hopefully that's showing up on the camera. These are old pencils, so let's follow along like that. Like so. Okay, so to get the snarl in, so we are going to do a chip cut right in this corner here. Rock that knife in, nice and deep. Get that tip really nice and deep here. We're gonna chip right here. We want it deep. And get that corner of the mouth there, like that. Okay, and we're just following along that snarl line. I'm gonna take another chip out here. Oops. I slipped. It's not good. Perfect. Look at that. So we're getting that in. Now we're going to stop. We're going to relieve this little area here to give it a little more depth. So you should already have a little bit of a stop cut in there, but we're going to give it a little deeper one, and we're just going to chip that out. Leave that out. So we're just getting the outline of the lips. So here, coming down, we're going to relieve up in here. Okay, then forgot about this part right here. So we're just going to V-cut this. Okay. Oh, pardon me. Okay. Let's see how I did this. Now I'm trying to remember how I did this too. we're gonna start removing the wood inside of the little snarl line here. Chip that out. Take another chip out because we're going to get the teeth in there. Keep setting in that mouth line too while we're at it. Sorry, I'm kind of bouncing all over the carving right now. We're just setting in this top lip here. And then for the bottom lip, we'll just kind of trace along here, meet the corner. And we're going to do the same thing. Stop, cut, relief, cut up to it. The rest of them. So we'll kind of set that lip in. Yeah, kind of like that. Hopefully that makes sense. So, if you're getting a little confused here, so we have our chin and top lip, bottom lip. And I'm kind of just going around trying to set that bottom lip in more. Like that. And we can actually shave some of this back a little bit. Go across the grain to shave this. Now, we set that in for the top lip. We can come from the top again. And then we'll V-cut up to it. Just shaping these lips some more. All right, now we're going to do the teeth in there. So, actually we need to relieve some more of this wood, cut out some more of this wood here. So, we're trying to make this rounded wood flat now. Okay, let's go on there. Take some more of that wood out. We want to give it that depth inside of the mouth. There, now we're talking here. Come on, chip that out. There you go. That's coming together better. That looks better. Sorry if the instructions are a little off today. I am struggle bussing big time. So, all right. So we can just draw in some simple teeth. So I just do a straight line down, straight line down, straight line down, and like so. So what I've found doing teeth, it's pretty simple. So we're just gonna do a big long stop cut. And then we're just going to do stop cuts all the way down. And you can sink it in pretty far. Stop cut, get it in there. Down. If you got the room to do it there, perfect. All right, so we just did 4 cuts, 1 long stop cut, 3 vertical stop cuts across. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to start relieving that wood. Doesn't matter if you start from the bottom. And we're just going to do a little V cut into that, chip it out, and we're just relieving just a tiny amount of wood. So it looks like he's gripping his teeth, clenching his teeth together. So we're just doing. I don't know if you can see that. So we're just kind of. Essentially, we're just doing 1 long V cut across the horizontal line, and then we'll do the same on those vertical lines so we can kind of tuck those teeth in so it kind of makes each side pop a little. So we got some depth. Okay, and I know this might be a little tough, so if you have a knife that has a good long tip like this guy, or this guy, this would be the time to use a very fine tip knife, or if you have a detail knife. As I found when you use the fatter knives, it kind of doesn't work as well. Just get that piece out. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. V cut, V cut, chip it up, a little pop. Oops, bumping that camera. Cut. Chip that out. This is where it gets a little difficult, especially in these tight spaces. That's okay. We're just going to go along all there. V cut. V cut. Each little chip. And then this side. Chip there. Little chip there. There we go. Look at that. We got some teeth in there. Now, so if we want to make these a little deeper, like this guy, we can go back and start rounding off these hard lines. And so we can go back in, and we can go back in again and just do those V cuts even deeper. Like that. So if you make the deeper you make these V cuts on the vertical line of these teeth, the more realistic they start coming out to be. And then we can do also, you can do little tiny chip cuts in each corner if you want. And that's going to add in that kind of gum line more. And these are just, I mean, the tiniest little chip cuts. And you don't have to do this. So what I found out is that, what I figured out is that if you want to tuck these teeth in more to make it look like gums, you can just take a tiny chip out of each corner of each tooth. So let me show you here. So just for this one, this is probably the easiest one to see. So right here on this tooth, I just went into that corner, and I'm just going to chip that out. See how much more depth we get right there? Like, we can even do it again, just a little deeper. So it's kind of tucking that tooth into that gum line now. Okay, and then we can do the same for the rest of them. This part's getting a little tedious. You know, that's okay. You know, you don't have to do this. This is just if you want to tuck those teeth in to make it a little more realistic. You don't have to. And if it doesn't come out perfect, so we're just gonna, that's okay too. So we're just taking a teeny tiny amount of wood, just to tuck it into that corner because it gives it that extra shadow right there, especially right there on that lip. See how much deeper that looks and more shadow you get from that. So if that's what you're wanting, absolutely go in there. Now for this inner tooth, you know, this is a chip cut. Another chip cut. Lots of chip cuts in this section. And this part's a little hard just because it's tight. You might have to give it a couple more tries. Get it out. Hopefully this is making sense to you guys. See, his teeth are starting to come out, look even more realistic already. And we're not even done with them yet. Oh, gonna take that. There we go. Okay, look at that. I mean, those top teeth are already looking good. We're just gonna take a chip out there. We're gonna take a chip out here. Take a chip out there. I'm gonna go with that bottom tooth. Take a chip out there. And we did that side, and so take a chip out there, a little teeny tiny chip, just to get that shadow in there. Make sure we got every single one. Cool. That's coming together nice, guys. So we're gonna start tucking that bottom lip in more. So I ran out of space on mine. Hopefully you guys are doing a little better than me today. So I'm going to just, with mine, I'm just gonna come along the bottom again and just kind of undercut the bottom. And if you want it to look more like that, you know, hopefully you left yourself some more space, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. I mean, if you're looking at it like this, well, it's tough to see it in that angle, but if you're looking at it like that, that already looks like he's got a bottom lip. So that's not a huge issue. Like it could be just his chin's underneath there or whatever. Guys, remember, it's a dead head. It doesn't matter too much. This is a pretty free range carving. Okay, so I mean, we're getting close to being done with this guy. We're getting real close. So on this smile line, we're gonna make that little cheekbone kind of flare out because his lips are gonna go on a little wonky. So we're just gonna stop cut here, tuck that in there. Just a little cut like that. I mean, we could even extend it a little more if you guys want. Really kind of get in there just so you get the shadows. Bueno. All right. We're going to finish up with the nose. And then we're just kind of pretty much finish up just rounding everything off at this point. And then we're going to work on the hair. And then we're going to be done with this guy. So the nose, we're just going to add in those little nose flares. So from that smile line, I just take my knife, I kind of rock it in just, I don't even, see how deep that is? Like that is not that deep. And then we're going to come at it like that. Take a little chip out. We're just adding in those nose flares like that. Okay. Chip that guy out. Okay, and we're going to do the same on this side. We're going to go up just rock it in. You don't want this too deep. Okay, then come on the side, chip it out. You might have to do it a couple times to get it where you like. Yeah, so we want this side a little deeper. Kind of like so. We're getting those kind of nose flares tucked back in there. A little better. So make sure those are equal with that smile line. Okay. Look at that. He's coming together, guys. Pardon me. Give him a quick little brush over. He is coming together. This looks fun. Hope you guys are having fun. Hopefully today is not as confusing as I seem it to be with me being sick again for about the 100th time. So going on with the nose, we're just going to kind of round out those flares a little bit. So we're just going to kind of come, flip your carving over, and then come from the tip of the nose, and we're just going to gently roll out. So here I'm getting some chatter. That means I'm sinking in a little too much. This is where you want to be really careful, because you can crack your nose off real easily. Okay? Kind of like that, yeah. Actually, I think this side could come a little better. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to do the same on this side. And just take your time on this spot. You don't want to go too deep and then you take a huge chunk off. Kind of like what I did there. That's all right, but we can just re-round this side up a little more. Kind of just bring that nose out to even more of a point instead of it being so flat. And I'm just kind of bouncing around here, you know, this is where you're going to start shaping your nose how you want it to look like. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine, it's going to look like yours. Clean that side up a little more. Okay, and then we're just going to go kind of round these hard edges off. We're just rounding the hard edges off at this point. We don't want it to look like a square. That side up a little bit. Kind of like that. See how much farther his nose sticks off? That's looking good. It's looking good, guys. All right, so, and then right in this corner of the nostril, we're going to do a little chip cut out of here just to give it some more shadow, give it a little more depth. Okay, we're just going to follow the smile line in. Right there. Jib it out. Same thing on this side. We're going to follow that smile line in. Put it deep. Here. Jib it out. And go back in and round that in again. Ooh, jeez Louise. Wee. Ain't gotta be perfect. Clean that up a little bit. Clean that smile line up. Okay, now we're just gonna basically go around. Oh, you know what? Whoop, I forgot one last step. So we're gonna kind of connect the ears back here. We're gonna give them like that neck fat roll. So just from one ear to the other, I'm just kind of draw a little rounded line off right here, out to there. Okay, so we're just gonna stop, cut, relief cut. Okay, like that. And we're just gonna follow this whole line all the way around. All the way up to the ear. So we can kind of tuck that in behind the ear a little bit. Okay, now we do want to get these saw marks off. So we'll just go around and, excuse me, we'll just lightly get them off. Especially on the back of the head. I mean, most of the saw marks are already off. And at this point, too, you can start kind of rounding off the hard edges as well. So we're just going around getting some of these saw marks off. Okay, and then we'll go back and we can deepen that neck roll. We're just going to get little V cuts. So you kind of get that, tuck that part of the neck underneath there. So, all right, so we're just gonna, all these hard edges, we're just gonna start rounding them inward. Because we don't want it to be a square head, we want it to be a rounded head. Actually, with the back of the head, I start rounding it in. So I start pushing it in a little more. It's okay if we're hitting the hair, not a big deal. We're just getting this to start looking like a skull or a dead head. Okay, brow ridge, we'll just be careful here. So brow ridge, I kind of roll cut or swooping cut from one side to the other. So it kind of gives it more of that furrowed brow. So we're going across grain here. So we're just kind of making it rounded. Hopefully that you can see that a little bit like that. And however the brows you set in, make one side's higher than the other, well, make sure that side's higher than the other side that's lower. can just add a little V-cut in there. Just give that little furrowed brow. Like that. Just a little V-cut. Cleaning this area up. And same with the bottom. Kind of rounding it out. And the bottom, I'll get rid of the saw marks. I get rid of the saw marks on the bottom. How are we doing on time? Oh wow, this is actually going a lot longer than I expected. So that's okay. Yeah, so we can keep rounding this out more. These corners down, the back of the head's just looking too square for my liking. If you like it square like that, that's fine too. So we'll just keep tucking that back base of the neck. Keep rounding that in. And at this point, if you need to pause and go back and check on anything that you missed or you're confused about, go do that now. It's just kind of the rounding over the edges part. Oh, pardon me. Coming together pretty good. Pretty good, guys. You're doing a good job so far. Gotta always have that positive reinforcement. All right, well. Oh, you know what? We got to do one more thing with that stitch. I forgot. That's right. I said I was going to come back to that. So, sorry, my ADD is getting the better of me right now. Anyway, so this stitch, so kind of like this guy right here, we're going to do the same. We're going to get rid of the sharp edges, the hard edges on this stitch going in there. So you do got to be pretty careful going on these edges because you can chip out too much. It just makes it kind of look, it looks better in my opinion. We just round those hard edges off of the stitch because then it starts looking like a stitch and not just a X. Especially coming up to the corners. Kind of gives it a little more depth too. And then we can kind of, so with that brow ridge, so we can kind of go just a little bit past that X, and we can cut just a teeny bit off of this stitch. That because then it tucks it right back in, right underneath that brush. So you see how that tucks it in. Take a little more wood out right there. And if you want to, you can always make that chip cut deeper. And I keep saying, we're almost done, and then I keep finding things that's like, oh yeah, we got to do this. Oh yeah, we got to do this. It's my first tutorial, guys. Yep, cut me some slack. All right, so this actually might be a longer part 2. Otherwise, if you put a poll up if you want a part 3. But I mean, we're almost done with this guy. I've said this a million times already. We're actually almost done because all we got to do left is I'm gonna save you the pain and suffering of watching me carve and get this down smaller. So I'm gonna edit that part out here. So we will come back and finish up the hair and add in just a couple of more details on the carving with our U-gouge over here. All right, and I will be back once we get this hair down to the size that I like it. All right, and we are back. See, now we got that hair shaped a little more and less bulky right there, so it's looking good. So now we're gonna get that U-gouge that I was telling in the first video. Can be any kind of U-gouge. Today I'm just using a dockyard. All right, and we're back. We got all that excess bulk gone. Now, see, he's looking much less poofier here. More like the hair is getting pulled up by a string. We're almost done here, guys. So next, we're just gonna do the hair details and then a little bit of detail on the face with that U-gouge that I said you would need in the first video. Today, I'm using a dockyard 5mm U-gouge. But you don't have to use a dockyard if you don't have one. You can use whatever U-gouge you want. So for the hairs, we're just going to take the U-gouge and we're going to come down on top of the head. So you want to be careful coming around up here on the bridge where there's less wood because you could slip and snap all that wood out. So we're just going to come down there nice and soft. We're basically just going to follow the whole hairline to the head around. And I think I'll speed this up here so you don't have to sit and watch me do this the whole way. I think you guys get the gist of this. All right. Okay. Next, we're going to tuck this hair in just a little more here. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect because this is the hairband, remember. We don't need to get all those chips out because we're going to be hitting that with the U-gouge here. Okay, something like that. So actually, we're going to do the hairband real quick. So what I do, so we can make it kind of look like it's spiraling. So I'm going to start on one side. And I'm going to go right on the corner like that, okay? And we're just going to take chunks out. But we're going to come up at an angle and spiral all the way around it. So it looks like it's a hair, it's tied with like string, if that makes sense. So once we get to that side that we started on, then we're going to go up next to it. Just kind of go up right past it. So you're getting these little grooves. Once you meet up again, you're pretty much done. See? And then like if there's any excess left, you can just kind of hit that edge there. Just go around. You're just adding some texture to that hairband. Okay, look at that. Boom. Got a hairband. All right, so now we're just gonna go up from where we did the downward gouges. You can start doing like S cuts. Like this. We're just gonna start going up. And you can take big chunks out too. You can go straight up. You can go at diagonal. Ooh, I went too deep there. We're just going up, and then we're going to go up right up to that hairband. Kind of blend those gouges in. Make it any way you want. Yeah. What I found helps too, if you want to start blending it into the hairband first, which we'll do. We'll just start about halfway, and we'll do the same what we did on the hairline into the hairband. We'll just start gouging up into it. And stack them on, you can stack them on top of each other too, so it creates different like strand effects. You know, you can come at it this way, hit it up this way. There's no right or wrong. You can come the opposite direction with a little curve to it. Oops, slipped to hit the top of it. No big deal, whatever. I don't care. It's not a big deal. It's a deadhead. So we're just kind of creating that curve going into the hairband. Okay, so we got all those excess. We're going to cut those out in a sec. But then we're just going to start blending in the hairs now. So if you take a big chunk out, it's fine. It's not a big deal. Just go back over it with your gouge. And just blend it back in. So I'm just doing like a couple of S turns here and there. Taking some big chunks out. I found the bigger the chunks you take out, the more it kind of starts smoothing this hairline out, like this guy, up into the hairband. Because right now he's looking a little puffy. And we want to blend that hairline that we did on the bottom. We want to blend that in to the middle of the line here. And you want to blend in that top line. We're just blending them together, basically. Coming out looking pretty good. Focus the camera here. There, that looks better. All right, then we're just gonna go chip all those tag ends we got there, whatever you want to call them. Tag ends. Sounds like fishing to me. If you get, you know what, I'm just kind of noticing this right now. If you get these kind of little extra cut lines in there, that's okay. I'm looking at it, you know what, I'm not worried about those because it kind of makes it look like the hairbands even down there even more. It's okay. It's a deadhead. It's supposed to be looking old, gross, decaying, spooky. It's getting to that time of the year, my favorite time of the year. There we go. Clean up that a little bit. I think I gotta sharpen this U gouge. All right, then we're almost done. This is the last step. over the hair. We're just going to go around the top end, blend it all in. Boom. I think all we're going to do really down here, I might tuck that in real quick, just make that top lip a little, that bottom lip just a little deeper underneath that top lip there. That there top lip. Okay, and then we're just going to take our U-gouge, give them that snot line. I don't know what it's called, I just call it the snot line. There you go. If you want to put the nostril holes in there, you can. I did on this guy. Kind of doesn't really matter. You can't really see them that much, but we can. You know what? Why don't we do that? We'll take our U-gouge. We'll start here, and then we're just gonna go up and around, and then up and around. Rock it in there. We'll do the same on the other side. Up and around. Okay. He's got some boogies. Got those boogers out of there. Give it one last little brush. That booger didn't want to come out of there. Come on, booger. Get out of there, booger. Oh, you're going to give me a hard time, aren't you? I didn't like how that one looked. Well, guys, we made it. We're done. Give it one big old scrub. Get those fuzzy wuzzies off there. I'm out. You did it. We did it. Here we go. He looks pretty damn good, guys. Not bad. So I'm going to go give him a wash. Get all this extra dirt and oil off here. And we'll come back and take a look. I think this guy came out pretty awesome. You know, fairly close to my original one. Hopefully your guys' is looking cool. Hey, you guys did it. Good job. Anybody can do this. I had a lot of fun carving this guy with you guys. He is looking angry. He's looking mean. He's looking spooky. This was fun. I think this is another one that's gonna go right up next to all the other ones. I mean, look at all the dead heads we got here. Now we got 5. You know, like, you can just change this up however you like. You know, you can give him 2 eyes if you want, you know. This guy, he came out good. Still, I think this style is my favorite with him missing an eye. That snarl, angry, I'm dead look to it. Thanks for struggling along with me today. Hopefully everything was clear. Alright folks, that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you had fun carving the deadhead guy. I think he's going to make a lot of fun decorations instead of your normal ghosts and pumpkins and whatever carvings that you can get out of here. Thanks for joining me on the struggle bus today with me being sick. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you share it, subscribe, like it, leave a comment down below what you really liked about this video or what you didn't like about this video. I want all types of feedback, whether it's good or bad. This being my first tutorial ever, my first creation, it's never gonna go perfect, especially being sick. So thanks again, and hope you had fun carving the deadhead.